Meet the Lot, native token of Lukki Exchange and the most potential tool for investing this year. Trade now on P2B, B2B and Lukki.io.
Afternoon everybody, and thank you for being here. I know I am what stands between you and the real world of beer, wine, cocktails and whatever we're having soon. So thank you for your attention. I don't have a lot of slides, so if we can just stick to the real world, and maybe I can take you through a little bit of what we're up to at the moment and some of our plans that we have for the immediate future. And we see a world where Bitcoin is used globally to facilitate payments. And globally means globally. We might be based in South Africa, but we have customers, as you might have seen from Lorian's talk before, all over the world. And we're very proud of that fact because it illustrates the very global nature of Bitcoin. And so maybe I could just introduce myself to start off with. I've been in banking for some time. Matter of fact, 19 years ago, I was part of a team that launched what we think might have been the world's first bank-backed digital currency. I spent a long time in banking since then, moving from various different roles, including CIO of a bank and Chief Payments Officer for a listed bank. And then I've eventually found my way back to the one real Bitcoin, the one real money. So it takes a while, but eventually, even a banker can figure it out. What we're going to talk about briefly today is about the three key products that we have and how they link together. Because you might think, what is the link between these? And I think you'll see at the end of this, there is a strategic logic between all of this. The foundation is the wallet. And Lorian's talk earlier was focusing very much on the wallet, the user experience of making sure it's really simple, really easy, really intuitive, and adding value and features onto that. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the on-ramps and the off-ramps around it, the ecosystem for merchants, and then also just a use case around remittances. Bitcoin has spoken about remittances for a long time, and we think we've got some very practical, simple, straightforward ways that actually makes a difference to people to whom that money, the remittance money, is very important. So the wallet itself, you've seen some pictures of it before, very simple, really easy way to send money to friends. So that is literally how easy it is. I'm pretty sure half of you in the audience have actually downloaded SendMe. Those of you that haven't, go ahead. It doesn't take long, sign up. And if Lorian switched the faucet back on, then we will be also, you get your dollar, which please share with your friends. The more friends you have in the network, the easier it is to send to your friends. It's one of those viral effects. It's really important you build up your friend list. The wallet is the foundation, and it's a necessary step because it's the place to look at what your balance is. But it also gives you functionality to get money in and get money out. So now I'm going to talk a little bit now about the merchant ecosystem. So I've spent many years working with merchants as a payments officer, launched an acquiring bank, and had all the challenges with good old-fashioned card technology that was designed and built in the 70s and kept together in the 80s with string and tape and quite often breaks, as we know happened recently. But there's an important element to how merchants think about things. The first point is that merchants are not all the same. There are first-tier merchants, what are typically called first-tier, multi-lane merchants, the Tesco's, the Sainsbury's, the big department stores. Then you get your second-tier merchants, smaller stores that are typically specialty stores, fast food restaurants, etc. Smaller, typically 1 or 2 lanes. And then you get your third-tier merchants, your more informal market. You don't see a huge amount of those in first world countries, but you see a lot of that in second, third world countries such as India, Africa, Asia. The mom and pop store on the side of the road, the guy selling services, typically uncarded. They typically don't have a payment system that they use. They're stuck with cash. Even though they are quite expensive, and they require a significant technology investment. Given that, those merchants are quite happy to leverage their existing investment. They don't particularly want to go out there and say, throw it away, just give me a new tablet and everything's fine. Some other types of merchant, you give them a mobile phone which is able to accept payment or show them that a customer has paid or allow them to hand cash to a customer, are very valuable to those merchants because they open up a line of business or they digitize their money. Remember, in the third-tier merchants, in your informal, they're sitting with cash. At the end of the day, you've got to bank your cash. And that's often an expensive, risky, time-consuming mechanism. So if you can digitize money, which we're all in the business of seeing digital money, then you will be much better off. You'll also have records which you can borrow against in order to get financial inclusion and to get credit. So this is a really important social benefit. So the two sides of this, spending on the right-hand side there, where we've been working with Enchain, was mentioned before, about building an SDK, software development kit. And I use that word loosely. We're still building it out to see exactly what the artifacts are going to be. But the intention there is to give the tools to the Bitcoin SV community to be able to set up merchant facilities. I see a world where each of you and your friends can create a business inside the payments ecosystem. You don't have to sit on your Bitcoin and hope that price goes up. Get out there and make a business. And there's lots of business opportunities. If you look at the current banking system, it is very fragmented. If you look at a payment that you put in through your debit card at a merchant, the journey that payment takes, that message takes, is long, complicated, and goes through many different hands. So there are lots of business opportunities in that to disrupt that, or even to play a similar role to what's going on there inside a Bitcoin payment ecosystem. The other side is obviously how do we make our product tangible? If you have a product that needs trust and is digital and you want to take it to billions of people, you need to have some tangible interface with this. So how do you help retailers to make it really easy to actually sell Bitcoin, to actually sell and provide that currency? We might all be in a position where we can use exchanges and be able to send an EFT from our bank, probably multi-banked, but there's a lot of people find that cumbersome, slow, and to a lot of people inaccessible. So we're trying to find solutions to that. This is one example of making things tangible. I don't know if Martin is still in the room. We had a lot of fun a couple of weeks ago at the launch of the Brewdog in Canary Wharf. You can go and have a look at the website, the CoinGeek website, or our website for some of the videos from that. What was really impactful is watching how somebody who got Bitcoin, put it in a wallet, and spent it on a beer 5 minutes later. That quick cycle of I got something from my Bitcoin. It suddenly goes, I get it. It's not something on a screen that goes up or down. It actually brought me something valuable. It gave me, and it was something ordinary. It's not the Lambo. It's actually just a beer. And it's what people will do every day. And so we really see a world where people actually go and spend their Bitcoin on beer and coffee. And it needs to be cheap, needs to be fast, and the merchants need it to be reliable. It needs to feel to them like payment card, but better. So that's our challenge. That's our standards that we're setting up to work on. So you see an actual video grab of what was being done there. It really is that quick. And it's only the first stage. The next little piece will show you, this is the SDK that we're building. This is effectively the alpha version of that. So it's rough and ready, as every alpha version should be. And it just shows you a simple mechanism for a merchant to have a tablet or a phone, download the app and be able to take payments. So a cell phone number is required for the merchant so he can receive confirmation. Merchant types in the amount, QR code generated. Customer takes their phone from any wallet, scans it. That few seconds is taken up by the customer scanning that, which is similar to the time taken to take your credit card out and tap it. So that's the first version of the alpha. We will be rolling out the next version of that. Our plan is to get it out into Q1 next year. That will have a more industrial scale element to it. Because that solution might be great for a pub, a bar, a restaurant, or a plumber, or if you want to be a small merchant, great. For bigger merchants, more industrial scale merchants, it must actually fit into their existing payment system. What I said in the beginning, they've got an investment in all this kit, all this IT, all this infrastructure, and bank cards are not going to go away tomorrow. We are going to have a parallel and complementary payment system which needs to integrate into what they have, and then they can see the benefits of it, but it's got to integrate in. We can't replace yet. Replacement is a long cycle. So one of the key components is merchants say, this Bitcoin is interesting, but I'm conservative. I've got salaries to pay in pounds, so please can I get settled in pounds? And I'm selling goods marked in pounds. Please don't ask me to mark goods up in Bitcoin Cash or BSV or anything like that. So there's my goods have to be priced, and I need certainty that I'm going to get the marked price of those goods. So there's a challenge coming in between the exchange rate that is used by the wallet and the exchange rate that is used by the merchant's service provider. So we have to work through that. We use BIP70 at the moment as a mechanism for that, but there's an entity that's needed in this, and that is a payment processor that helps merchants. Think of it as an acquiring bank. Necessary also is the ISO 8583. That's pretty much the technology, the standard that all merchants are sitting with. They typically have postillions or the switches running there. So we need to be talking their language. We need to be injecting messages into that channel, and we need to be injecting authorizations into that channel that feels like they're getting a card payment. Then they go, okay, my POS terminal just said approved. That's what's necessary. And then, again, what the merchants are really looking for, markup and recon files. I think you might have heard Martin talk earlier about what was missing from the other service he was getting was, how do I reconcile this? How do I classify all the receipts that I've got for the day in fiat against my expenses? How do I manage that? Which store did it? How do I bank that? When do I get settled for that? How do I reconcile that with my other stores of money? There are standard templates for markup and markup files. We just need to be producing them. So we hope to release this as open source. So the framework and the application, they will allow people to go and take that framework and build their own stacks on top of that, to go and build your own applications using that. And if it works out as we're hoping it to be, it'll be an open source that'll be enhanced and worked on as well, so that we can improve that, add adapters. Could be a whole industry about people who build adapters and interfaces between the exchange, the merchant, and the systems there. The next point, just in my last few minutes, is to talk about Bitcoin at till points. Again, make it really easy. Lorian spoke about this. On the app, you generate a barcode. What do merchant till points read? They read barcodes. So you get scanned with your barcode. It's really just identifying yourself onto a voucher platform, hand over your money, and in your app you get a notification. That notification is effectively the conversion now. We're not an exchange, but we connect two exchanges. At the moment you've deposited fiat. This is your conversion place where you convert it into Bitcoin. The challenge here is making sure that the customers understand this process. It is a little new, but the nice part is that the merchants don't have to deal with this. As far as the merchant knows, I sold a good because I had a barcode and I got cash and it rang up in my till. That's all I need to know, because the voucher company actually settles this. We don't run those vouchers. We integrate into voucher companies that actually provide all those voucher codes into the retailers themselves. That's one of their retailers, PEP stores, 1,800 stores. It's just the first retailer. We are now live in that physical location. We're not enabling it at the customer level because we still need to do quite a bit of KYC. Because this is an opportunity where you're converting cash into Bitcoin, you need to be cognizant of money laundering risk, and we need to be sensible. So we will be putting a bit of effort into that. But the key part is getting distribution. If you're going to succeed in the retail world, distribution matters. This is the first retailer. The certification for the next couple of retailers will take it up to about 100,000 lanes, which should be done by Q1 in that country. Then there's remittance, and very quick, just mention about remittance. The model, you've put your cash in, you've got a retail voucher, so we're using that retail voucher mechanism for cash in, because remittance is a cash business. On the phone, you pick who you want to send the money to, and you get a quote. That one's actually in Nigerian Naira. We have models, we're integrated into 3 different exchanges at the moment, only doing small test transactions into that, but we need to get lots of integrations into lots of exchanges. As I said, we're not an exchange. We want there to be lots of liquid, deep, real-time exchanges. So these are real-time API calls that we're making with a real-time price into it. Quote to the customer, and then the customer gets a message from the mobile money provider in the country that they are receiving the money in. They don't get a message from us. The receiver needs confidence from EcoCash, MTN Mobile Money, or Zain, whichever the mobile money provider is, that they've got the money. The sender obviously gets notification, but it's important that the receiver feels confident that the money is being received. In this particular case, EcoCash has 6 million customers in Zimbabwe. It runs 93% of the financial transactions in Zimbabwe operate through mobile money, through EcoCash. The banking system's like over there. If you look at the Africa in Asia, mobile money is doing very well. And the flows are big. Just the South Africa Zim corridor is close to $1 billion per annum. So we get a little slice of that. Hopefully we're generating lots of Bitcoin transactions, quite low value, quite high speed value, high speed transactions into the network. So that's what we want to do. And we are not just wanting to do it, we are mostly there. That's my time up. Jimmy?